I never once said I'm quitting. I want to quit.
You haven't got burnt out.
No,
you haven't like.
Never. Nope.
You're not pushing hard enough.
Nope. And maybe that's true, right? I mean, like, for God's sake, I don't know. But like, never.
Seriously,
again,
like, that's cool.
It's not that there hasn't been so many challenges.
Yeah.
Of course there have, right? But like, I think perspective is everything. And for me, it has never challenged me so much that I've wanted to close up shop, like ever.
Talk to me about the mom life with kids and like that balance, because like it's hard enough as a dad. Like I can't imagine having that as a mom.
Yeah. My girls are everything, right? All our kids are everything to 99.9% of us, I would say. My husband is truly the most amazing human on the planet. He's gonna get choked up talking about my hubby today. No.
No, that's not happening. We're not doing that.
No.
I'm gonna get you up in the helicopter.
No, you're not, son.
Somehow,
no, you're not.
I'm not. That's my life goal now. No,
maybe for your 40th birthday, I'll go up in the helicopter with you.
Hey, I'll show you Arizona like you've never seen. We'll fly over some of your projects.
Do you fly this thing?
Yeah.
Oh, God, no! You are crazy.
You Welcome to Flying High with Cam.
Yayo.
A podcast where I combine two things I love.
This is insane.
Interviewing the most successful people I know.
You're the baddest guy in town.
While flying helicopters.
Engine failure.
Fly with me. I want to hear your stories, learn from your experiences, and build a community. This is Flying High with Cam. You are only the second person that has denied me the helicopter. Most people are so excited, and so you're offending me.
No, I'm sorry. I 100% do not mean to offend you, but there is no
chance.
What
would I have to do to get you in the helicopter?
0.
Like, no, there's got to be something.
I promise you. 0.
There's got to be something.
Nope.
All right, welcome to Not Flying High with Cam. We're in the studio today with Kristen. Jeez, man. You know what's funny? I was telling my wife this morning. I'm like, hey, do you know this Kristen girl from THELIFESTYLEDCO? She's like, our whole house is decorated from her stuff. And I was looking through all your feed preparing for this interview. And as I was looking through your feed, I'm like, our house literally looks like everything that you post. And then I asked that, and she was just like, your office is this? You know those brown chairs you like?
I love it.
And like my whole great room, like all the knicknacks. And so my wife's a huge fan. So I was like, all right, we're supporting her. Let's go.
That's so sweet. I appreciate it.
No, for sure. I love, like, I watched it was like 20 minutes long, your YouTube about how to, get hired at your company, essentially. Yes. Right. Mm-hmm. And what stood out to me about you, and this is where I was like, we're going to connect so well, is because you are, and I don't mean, if you don't tag yourself as this, I'm sorry, but like OCD, like you pay attention to the details. And I feel like every single business owner that is successful, either they pay attention to details or they have someone in the organization that pays attention to details. And you come off as that person. Yeah.
You know what's interesting? I'm not OCD. I'm also like not a control freak.
You love your systems and processes, and they have to be perfect.
Like, well, and like there just has to be a logical reason if we're deviating. You know what I mean? So like even in getting hired in the hiring process, like you're representing yourself, right?
Yeah.
At 100% of the time, all the time. And so I just can't understand why you would ever like send a resume with typos or like, right? It's just like, it implies laziness. It implies no attention to detail. It's just something, especially in a high level, high achieving, high performance environment that we can't have. I literally maybe one resume a month, one resume a quarter gets to me.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
we're not hiring a lot either. So
how many people do you have in your organization?
Oh gosh, 58 maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. It's pretty big and it's grown quickly. And, size doesn't matter, especially in as it comes to culture in an organization in any way. But, it's a lot.
So I'm sure you get sick of like telling your story, but like, tell me your story a little bit because it's so cool. Cause I think every girl out there, especially my wife, we just built our house. We've been in there for 2 years now. She got to work with an interior designer, and it's I feel like it's everyone's like dream to do that, right?
Yeah.
And every girl, at least that I've met, is like, I would love to be an interior designer, a decorator, but then it's like hard to get past and make it a business and get people to trust you. And it's just like, tell me your story.
Yeah. I definitely think that it's like a very aspirational career, right? I think that I'm I sit in a very unique seat in that I always really approached it from a business standpoint. I dropped out of college twice. I have a PhD in bartending from my 20s. School just wasn't for me, but I've always been super, super creative. So I went to fashion school, thought I was going to be in fashion forever, moved to LA. LA is not for me. I love to vacation there, but like it was 100%
not a thrill seeker.
Not a thrill seeker. That. No helicopters. Like don't need to go to the valley, like down the, you know. But so when I moved back to Arizona, I was like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do with my life? Like I love fashion and I want to be creative, but like there's no fashion jobs here. Yeah. And honestly, my mom at the time was like, you should work for Nordstrom. There's like that new one opening it, you know. And I was like, and now it's since closed, but I was like, no, Mom, like that's not fashion. Like that's a retail job, and retail jobs are amazing. But like that's not what I want to do, right? Yeah. And so I started doing weddings at a resort here and was able to really get weddings and events and was able to use some of my creative energy. Yeah. And along the same time, I met my husband. We bought a house, and we started renovating, DIY renovating, mind you, our house. Yeah. This was in 2010. Okay. And I started blogging about it. And back then, there was no Instagram. Yeah. Facebook was the end all be all. There was no Pinterest. Like it was 100% Facebook all day, every day, and a blogging platform. I blogged on a platform called Blog Her, which was like the platform, right? Yeah. And for whatever reason, like I think timing had a lot to do with it. I had a decent following of my friends and family. Like people started organically sharing my blog posts, and and then those people started asking me, can you come to my house and help me pick out my pillows? And can you help me pick out tile? And like, I know you've never done this before, but can you design my kitchen renovation? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I guess I can, right? Yeah. And so I am as self-taught as it gets, but truly like color and design and color theory, and you have an eye or you don't, I think in a lot of instances. Or if you don't, you go to school for it to try to mind the gap a little bit, right? And kind of close that. So for me, it just like came so naturally for me in terms of interiors. And I honestly never thought I would get a chance to go back to fashion. And so the lifestyle company starts, it's a blog. I start taking, at the time, the reason why it's called the Lifestyled Company, now like the Lifestyled Co, is because I was still doing weddings for my corporate jobs.
Hey, wait, it's company now or co?
It was company. Yeah. So
okay. I'm like, I'm not messing this up because in your interview, you're like, it better get the name right. Co. I've been rehearsing it all day.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes. It's the Lifestyle Co. So when we opened Brick Mortar and like had to put our name on the side of a building, the Lifestyled Company, way too many characters. So I was like, oh my God, what are we going to shorten it to? Blah, blah. So our actual name now is the Lifestyled Co. But when it started, it was Lifestyle Company, and it was because I was still doing weddings. So I was doing full service wedding planning. I was styling people's lives, and I was doing wardrobe styling. So like when you imagine like taking off your hats, like one email is about a kitchen renovation and the next email is about 250 guests. And like so I did that for almost 3 years as a one-woman show by myself. I had a couple assistants like
was
here
your husband
he was he worked a full-time right? No, he worked a full-time job. So I will tell you, so
it's literally
me with a 2-year-old, and I was pregnant at the time with our second. And again, like, right, you don't know where things are going, but when I quit, I told my husband, I really want to quit my corporate job. I think this is I think it's going to be something. We collectively decided that if I could make $20,000 a year.
A year? I thought you were going to say a month.
Year. Oh, no. A year. Things were different then. But a year, then I could pick up my kids, right? We could afford to have like one kid in daycare a couple days a week, and I could have some flexibility and stay at home and not stay at home, but have flexibility to do my job, do my job and be present with our girls. Yeah. And that came and went very quickly, and it kind of just like exploded. And so
when you say came and went, like it just like 20 grand,
like the 20 grand came and went, and then I was on to the next 20 and the next 20 and the next 20. Well, that too, I had to quickly decide like, okay, I really don't want to stay home, right? I really do want to build a business. And that was always kind of my thing. And so
why do you think that, hold on, why do you think that is though? I think it's so cool. No, that you want to build a business.
Yeah. I just always knew I would work for myself. Yeah. I really did. And if you talk to my parents, I'm an only child. Maybe that has something to do with it. I'm an only child.
Were they entrepreneurs? Did they work at corporate America?
Tried actually, both like really corporate people. My dad was in the car business for 30 something years. My mom was a corporate executive at Chase Bank. So she was in banking. Yeah, so corporate, right? And what's cool about that is like the skills that they taught me, I also carried through like early in my career. So I worked for Chase Bank as a financial advisor for a year. Okay. And those skills somehow that I was like, ugh, I'm never going to need to know this, I use like every day, right? In my job, or I definitely did when it was just me. So I don't know, I just always knew that I was going to work for myself. And
That's cool.
I was, I had a really supportive partner, still have. My husband is still so supportive and is like, I think we can do this. Like, you should do this.
I love that.
Gave ourselves a year, and truly in that year, it was just like, wow, okay.
This is great.
I think I like, people want like my designs. Like, I think this is what people want. Like, I feel like we could do this. And it just kind of, 2 into 4, 4 into 8, 8 into 16. And it just kept going from there.
I love that.
Yeah.
I was laughing because I'm like, how my wife, she's like, ask her why her stuff is so expensive. And I'm like, babe, it's premium, it's quality.
And
it's
gosh, I don't think it's expensive at all.
I hate when people talk about pest control and say, you're premium. Why is it expensive? I'm like, we're not the most expensive.
Right.
So what do you say to people that they're like, hey, it's expensive or it's not?
Are we talking about product or service or both?
Well, I think she was talking about product, but I mean, service and product, right? Like your fees to come in, an interior designer, I'm not obviously like, I'm an advocate for it because I can't imagine building a house without one because like they present where to put every single little thing, every single little outlet. And you don't know why you want that outlet there until it's almost too late when you're in the house. And that's where you guys come into play and just like save the day. And so it's worth every penny, but how do you justify like the cost to people that think it's so expensive to hire someone?
Yeah. So number one, it is so expensive, right? No one needs an interior designer, period, end of story, right? We need doctors, we need lawyers, we need accountants.
You need pest control people.
You need pest control 100%.
I'm just kidding.
No, 100% you need pest control. Like, if there are things that I'm not skimping on, it's my pest control. But no one needs an interior designer. So because of that automatically catapults it to a luxury profession, right? But it is a professional job for a reason. And there is so much experience behind those fees, right? Or there should be. Yeah. I can tell you what I charged when I was learning in my first couple years is not what I charged 12 years in, right? Because that experience is what you're paying for. The opportunity for me to say, we shouldn't do that because when I did that before, X, Y, Z, right? Or like, this is what we see in other floor plans from a livability standpoint. You're not going to like that. Here's why. Yeah. Or at the very least, I'm presenting options and allowing our clients to decide based on what makes sense for them. So I think as a luxury design, as a luxury service, as any professional services, I kind of equate it, and I hope no one's offended by this, but to like plastic surgery, right? Or anything that like you don't need, but you want. And there's a premium to that. A nice car, right? Like we can all drive the same 4 wheels as long as it right? Perfect. Like, and so for those reasons, it is a luxury service. Now, are we ever does anyone want to be the cheapest in town? That is a horrible business model. Right. So as a business, like absolutely not. You don't want to be the cheapest in town unless you're Walmart. And that's worked out really well for them. Right. But the amount that they have had to invest in capital to get to the level that they can offer those prices and be profitable is billions and billions of dollars that most small businesses don't have, right? Yep. And so there's a million reasons, obviously, why and where you want to position yourself in the market for professional services. I don't ever want to necessarily be the most expensive, but I also truly believe that working with our firm is the best experience and going to give you a generous return on your investment, right? Both as it relates to your residents or as it relates to just the experience and what you're willing to pay for that. So that's the long answer to that. Product, what's your wife's name?
Alyssa.
I want to talk to Alyssa because if she goes into any other boutique environment where there are humans that can help you, that are familiar with their product, that know where their products come from, that are able to assist you, that can talk to you face to face in that regard, I think it's super affordable. If you're going to compare us to the dollar spot at Target, no comparison. And do I shop there also? Absolutely. Right. So there's a happy, there's a happy place for a little boutique environment here and a little Target there. And together we get a high-low, beautifully curated home.
So I want to hear about like your horror story because you guys have a lot of pressure as an interior designer to get things right. And a lot of the people that are telling you what they want, they don't know how to describe it to you.
Totally.
So I know you've had a problem. Like there has to have been a couple of houses dealing with these high-end people. You didn't hit the mark and like.
Yeah, gosh, I know. I know we have. We've all made terrible design choices, but like, is there a horrible horror story that I have? Not necessarily. I would say things that have gone more wrong in a project that I would like to not repeat would be just a non-organic connection between us and the client, right? Yeah. Like, or us and the builder and the client, or husband and wife in us, or
Okay.
right. So it's more of a dynamic and relationship necessarily. Most design choices, if you even know a little bit, you can get around. You can, it might cost you something. Have I purchased literally 10,000 dining chairs that a client didn't like, unfortunately, even though all sales are final? Yes, I have, right? Like how many lighting fixtures I own or I have owned at one point that I didn't want to own because a designer specified something incorrectly.
Yeah.
Yes, that has happened. But I think the thing that sticks out to me as I reflect on like the last 12 years is just those clients that unfortunately the relationship was not what we all thought it would be.
Yeah.
And like when I meet with clients, especially new prospects, right? I sit in front of them, I just met them and I'm like, listen, you know, it's all kissing babies, rainbows and butterflies. And I'm like, in case you turn into a crazy person, like this is our backup plan.
Which
this
you
is where we're going.
probably will when your house isn't on track.
Possibly, right? Exactly. Like no one sits in this seat and shows me they're crazy, or we would never go any further, right? And same thing is true with me. It's a mutual interview. If we don't feel the connection, I want you to find as a client your person. The design community in this state, or even just in general, is so ample. Yeah. You as a prospective client should find the firm that makes you feel like Santa, like warm and fuzzy inside, that you're like, oh my gosh, I want to hang out with these people. When I call, I want you to want to answer, right? Like when you email, I want to be like, ooh, what did so-and-so have to say? Versus like, what does she want? Right? Like, and so that sometimes takes a little bit of time to find that. And I think more than anything, it's been, there have of course been some that you're like, wow, I don't think that we will ever talk again. And I hate that, but I wish you nothing but the best. And we always exit in a way that is as graceful as possible. And you know, you got to keep moving.
I love it. Why brick and mortar? I think you're the only, and I'm not too involved in this space, so forgive me, but like you're the only one that I know that does like a brick and mortar with interior design. Is that just for the furniture aspect of it and the knickknacks, or like why? Like why?
Yeah. So we've had brick and mortar. Truly, one of the reasons that it started is because I had a little studio in downtown Gilbert. So you know where like SoCal Tacos is? Yeah. It was literally upstairs, right to the right of that, and teeny tiny, 900 square feet. It was my first office since hiring employees. Yeah. And we had this like big open room and like a cute little like entryway, and we would always just work in the back room. And so like the whole space, I would just come out and be like, this is such a waste of like space. Like we're not even using this. There was 4 of us in the office at the time. Yeah. And I'd gone to market and was like, oh, I just want to buy, like, I just want better buying power, right? Like I'm buying 2 candlesticks, but if I could buy 12, then I could drive the cost down. But I don't need 12 for my project. So if I could buy 12 and open my studio 2 days a week, then I can sell the other 10. And then I drive my cost, you know, everyone wins. So that's truly how it started. I opened my studio 2 days a week, Friday and Saturday, for the first like probably 6 months. And we would just stock the shelves with overflow
and people just
product.
Come in and just wipe you
out.
out.
They would come in and like, I literally remember, I'm not kidding you, Kim, the first time my rent at the time was $900. And the first day that we rang $900 in one day, I cried. Like I literally was like, oh, like I still get like choked up thinking about it because it was just so humble and like things are so different now. But yeah, and that's really how it started. And then that store, 2020 hit and we were like, oh my God, what is this going to look like? Yeah. How does that work? And we had already had another store in Arcadia by then. And so then that particular store, we moved to Williams Field in Val Vista. So that's where that store is.
Nice.
So right now we have 3 brick and mortar retail locations, North Scottsdale, Arcadia, and Gilbert. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend it for everyone. Yeah. It's a very different business, right? So like it is not interchangeable with interior design. It is not the same business.
That's when I saw that. I was like, that's just interesting.
It is not the same business. And we have full service e-com where we sell furniture. We fulfill all of our own e-commerce orders. So like we have a whole fulfillment warehouse center.
That's why I was like,
so that's a whole different business.
Girl's got a lot going on.
Yeah.
How long? When did you said 2010, right?
Yeah. So we're going on our 12th year of business.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty much like us. Green Mango started in 2010, the end of 2010.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So we've probably like lived the same painful years of
It's been challenging, huh? There are days that I'm like, oh my gosh, wow. Like, what does this look like? What does this look like now? Because it's so wildly different.
Where do you get burned on interior? Like, is it buying back the product, even though all sales are fine? Like, how do you get burned in this business?
In terms of full service interiors, I would say the most challenging thing is finding skilled talent, right?
Is that why you did the video? You were so detailed on that video.
Yeah, it's so hard. Like skilled talent that can perform at the level you want and what that premium is. Yeah. So, right, like when you're talking payroll cost, I mean, you are up there in payroll cost versus fees, right? So you couldn't possibly command enough in a fee and stay commensurate with the market if you didn't sell furniture or have some other revenue
Really?
stream. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It is not like
Wow.
there's no way, just because the talent pool is so high, right? Like these are highly skilled people. You're not paying a $17 an hour person to work at an interior design firm unless they're like putting samples away.
What are they, like 40, 50 bucks an hour plus?
Like, oh, and we all work on salary. Like we have team members who have been with us for 7 years. Like we're established, but the talent pool I think is very different now also. So when I hired someone 7 years ago, I was able to teach them everything that they need to know, where now I need you to walk in with a set of skills that can immediately make an impact with our portfolio and our clients. And like, that is just, so no, it's not the lighting fixtures I own. It's not misspecifying. It really is just making sure that the projects are there, that they're moving, and that is in line with what your talent costs.
You're such a boss, man. I love how you like know exactly what you want. You're so precise. Like it's awesome to see.
I'm glad you
Seriously,
think that.
like, talk to me about the mom life with kids and like that balance, because like it's hard enough as a dad. Like I can't imagine having that as a mom.
Yeah. My girls are everything, right? All our kids are everything to 99.9% of us, I would say. My husband is truly the most amazing human on the planet. Like he's gonna get choked up talking about my hubby today. No,
no, that's not happening. We're not doing that.
No. But he is sometimes like 90% parent and I'm 10%. Sometimes he's 70% and I'm 30%. Sometimes I'm 70% and he's 30%. So like, I truly think that for me, his support allows me to do what I need to do, but then still be present with my girls. We have a really tight relationship.
How many girls do you have?
I have two,
girls.
Almost 13 and almost 10. Yeah.
Nice.
And so like, I've really enjoyed, I personally hate, like, I don't use that word often, but I hate the narrative that exists about teenagers. I super hate the narrative that exists about teenage girls. I think that as adults, we owe our youth so much more than setting them up to be these like terrible people during this very delicate time of their existence, in like assuming that they're just going to be awful. Like my girls are not awful. Do they talk back to me sometimes? Yes. Are they going to make mistakes? For sure. But is it something that I shouldn't embrace and teach them how to navigate? Gosh, of course not. Like this is what I'm here for, right? Like my role is switching from keeping you alive and nursing, if you will. I bottle fed, but you don't care. Right? That analogy, if you will. That's
important.
To, right? Like to being a person and like making your own decisions and all of those things. And so the mom thing for me is the most important. And I feel so lucky that I have a career that has some flexibility. I think that is one of the challenges though, right? Like I wanted to work for myself for a million reasons, but in working for myself, there's a million other stresses.
Yeah.
You know, mom guilt for me isn't necessarily one of them, but it is such a real thing. And like, you know, there are days that I'm like, wow, I didn't get to see my girls wake up and I didn't get to see them go to bed. But I try to tell myself that that's not every day. It's not every week. It's not every month. And you know, for those reasons, like I want to keep going. And I'm a better mom when I feel fulfilled in my career and the footprint that I'm leaving.
Yeah, I love that. I'm sure you help a lot of companies, but like that's one of the biggest probably pain points that I hear is that, and normally it's the guy that's the CEO and the wife has to be the supportive one, right?
Sure.
And a lot of times if the husband and wife aren't on the same page, like it ends in a divorce because I always tell people like your company's the neediest girlfriend or boyfriend
100%.
you've ever had, and they will not stop chirping.
Yeah, it's so
and
true.
It's taxing. And so like, is that conversation something that you had with your husband? I got lucky. Like I wasn't mature enough. I didn't know, like my wife just happened to be supportive and like just kept riding me. So like how you feel about your husband is how I feel about my wife. Like they're just like, they're there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we didn't have that conversation. Did you guys have that conversation, or what advice would you give people, especially women that are going through that? It's cool that your husband wasn't like, oh no, I got to be the macho one. And maybe he is making all the money, but that's not the perception that I get.
Yeah, no.
And
well, so my husband joined our company full time as our CEO 6 years ago.
Okay.
So all the money we're making, we're doing together. Cool. But when we decided to kind of go down that path, I mean, that's so scary, right? Like your entire livelihood is riding on my back, right? His back. And so that was always our plan. We had a 5-year plan for him to join. He was in high-end beverage sales and had experience in warehousing and running a sales team and all that. So interestingly, like it translates really well. But in our 5-year plan, it took him 6 years. And one of the reasons why is because like he loved his job. He loved his boss. Like that's really rare in a corporate environment. Right. Yeah. And so we kind of maxed that out and took it a little bit slower so that there was an easy transition there. But so I would say more than anything in terms of advice, 2 things. You have to care about the same things and you can't care about the same things. As silly as that sounds, right? Like you have to care, like you both have to care about the same things. But that needs to be pretty high level, right? Like we share the same values and morals. We believe the same things are the right thing, those types of things. Yeah. But like you can't care about the Monday through Friday same things. Okay. So for us, like the stuff that he cares about is not the stuff that I care about. Yeah. I'm like, he's like, I'm so upset with blah, 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 freight company, this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, okay. Sure. Yeah. Great. I'm sure you'll work it out. Right. And then I'm over here like, I am so bad at and they're not usually the same things. So that helps because we have 2 very different jobs. And I'll tell you what, for the longest time, I used to like amp him and I'd be like, you can pick any job you want, but I'm the CEO. So like, you're going to report to me. And he was like, okay, like, right. Like just would not even give me the time of day. Yeah. And then somewhere along the lines, I was like, I changed my mind. I don't want to be the CEO. I don't ever want to talk to an accountant again. I don't ever want to talk to a lawyer again. I don't ever want to talk to the IRS ever again for the rest of my life. I don't want to deal with so-and-so trying to sue us over whatever. I don't want to deal with that. You deal with that and I will be the creative director and principal designer and all design. And he was like, sold. And that's kind of how,
so it's worked out.
Yeah, that's perfect. Exactly. And so the support does go both ways, but yeah, he's just amazing.
Yeah. Have you seen that your girls have taken to be like, do you think they'll be entrepreneurs or like,
I really wonder. My biggest goal in life, other than raising kind, wonderful people, happy people, is to not put my expectations for their careers even out into the world. Like I really honestly haven't thought about it. I really haven't. If they end up, like I would love for them to like work in the warehouse, sweep some floors, like, get that humble pie situation. Like when we go school shopping, they're like, can we go to the warehouse? And I'm like, we can, but I just want to make sure you understand this is not normal. Like most people don't get to go to a warehouse full of cute clothes and like just savage, right? Like through it. Like most people go to, again, Target and like, we could do both, but so I would love for them to start from the ground up. Like, I don't know how my team would feel about Harper being their boss someday, but you know what? If that is what happens, I'm fine with it. But I don't know. I don't know.
Good. Well, what's your next passion? What's your next goal?
Oh, gosh, that's a great question.
De-stress a little bit?
I know.
And I don't know if you're stressed, but like,
no.
Do you have a certain revenue mark that you're going after? Is it more brick and mortar?
I really don't. I would say brick and mortar has changed a lot, even in the last 6-7 years that we've been in it, right? Yeah. Like small business, like if I can just remind everyone one more time, like buy from a small business. Yeah. Pay $2 more to buy from a small business. Even if you did that 10 times a year, that would cost you $20 in a year to make an impact in small business. Like it is still the heart of America. It is so hard for people. And I feel really lucky because our small business has translated to kind of a medium-sized business, right? And so is yours. And so that's a huge marker that I appreciate and feel very proud about. But brick and mortar is one that's just tough. And so what we always focus on is trying to create an experience, trying to make sure people know where we are and that if you want to come into a shopping experience, like we're here for you. Yeah. I can't tell you the last time I was in a big box retailer that I had a shopping experience. I'm like, hi, do you know where these are? And you can't even get someone who's audible. Like you can't even get, you know what I mean? I'm like, do you know where this is? I'm walking around, whatever, even Home Depot sometimes I'm like, and they used to be really known for service, right? I mean, this dates me, but you used to be able to walk in and there would be someone there. And it's just harder to find people who want to work in that environment, who want to genuinely help people. So I don't know that expansion of brick and mortar is what we'll end up with. I truly hope, I would love if we could keep our team the way it is and we can keep people growing in their careers, building financial wealth and designing more and being more accessible for people out there. But I really don't have some crazy target that I'm hitting. We manufacture a lot of our own product. And so the more we can manufacture more of our own product,
we travel a lot,
the better. So we don't physically go source overseas yet, but that's definitely a step that I want to take. Yeah. The delta between bringing in a container and going there and filling a boat is
It's
very wide. Yeah.
Really?
So we gotta establish a few more things, but we custom design our own packaging, our own formulation. We have brand new reformulated soap and lotion coming out, which is one of our like signature products. Oh my God, it's so good. So I would say more of that. Like I'd like to dig in more in terms of like full vertical.
Yeah.
As time allows.
What's your culture like?
Oh, I love that question.
You mentioned 48 or 50. Is it 48 or 50?
Yeah. So a bunch of our team is on the retail side. So we operate kind of independently, right? So we have the retail team that works in our retail stores. We have our warehouse team that works in our warehouse and fulfillment, admin, buying, all of that. And the marketing and design team work with me in my office. I think our culture is awesome. Like we have
Has it always been awesome?
cattiness. Honestly, yeah, it really has. Like,
don't do that.
Yeah, it really has. Like, I mean, has your culture always been awesome?
No.
Really?
Yeah, I had to learn
How'd you do
the
it?
hard lesson.
What'd you do?
How did I turn it around?
Yeah.
Like it was just a mindset, just decide like I want to treat my people better.
Yeah, I can say that too, for sure.
Yeah.
Like I definitely had my first like 5-ish employees were rough, right? Like I was like, oh my God, is this what this is like? Like, why would anyone ever be someone's boss?
Right.
And same thing, I do think like at one point I shifted my mindset and I was like, you know what? If you don't want to be here, I don't want you here. Yeah. But if you do want to be here, I want you here. And I'm going to fight for you and I'm going to treat you like a person and not a number, right? So I guess if we want to look at it that way, for sure. But I think as we've established a team, our company culture in terms of how much we get done and like the dynamic between our team is fast paced. I think something I've learned from new people that come in is they're like, whoa, I totally thought you guys sat around and like drink rosé all day. Like you do not. Like the amount that comes out of this company from a production standpoint in a day is impressive.
You guys doing like monthly meetings? Are you doing quarterly like get-togethers with family? What's
we do.
Like?
In term like when we bring family in is typically around the holidays. Okay. But our teams, especially on the design team, like we travel, so we work all over the country. So like when you travel with someone, you're like,
you get pretty close.
Yeah, like we're sharing hotel rooms, we're sharing bathrooms, we're sharing Ubers, we're like practically sitting on each other's laps in the plane. Like, so we get an opportunity to get really close.
Cool.
I'd say the warehouse team is just a little bit more transactional just because they come to the warehouse and they do what they need to do. And then they go, some of them go to their second job, some of them go to their home to their families or whatever. But I feel like just based on the amount of people that we have working for us, like we have had the same warehouse team for over a year.
That's crazy.
No one has left. In a warehouse environment at an hourly level, that is like unheard of. So that's something that I'm really proud of. Obviously my design team, like I love that we have 7+ year employees also, but it's being able to keep someone who could work anywhere. They could go get an hourly position anywhere, but they want to work with us. Yeah. That means so much to me.
Well, after watching your video, after talking to you, like you're the type of person that I'd want to work for because the expectation seems so clear on what you're looking for, and it's written down.
You would be surprised.
But what I take from you is like it's written down. It's not just a verbal talk. Like, hey, this is what I want. This is like you. If I had to guess, like you have it bullet pointed perfectly.
You know what's funny? Down. We have an employee handbook, of course, but like I'm a pretty fluid like person. It's really interesting. Like I said, my team. I don't think they'd call me a control freak. I'm like the anti-micromanager. Like I do not micromanage. I'm like, listen, if you don't know how to manage your time, like, and you've made it this far.
So how do you measure like their performance or their production?
I mean, a lot of it is based on client satisfaction, right? Client satisfaction. Like, are we making sure that we're thinking forward? I think following your actions through, especially in a design process, we have 10,000 decisions, and that's probably a low estimate.
Per house,
per project. Exactly. Yes. That's a low estimate.
Yes.
So like, at some point, I'm going to see that like things aren't lining up.
You guys
properly.
Are picking like space planning a room, where to put this outlet.
Yes.
Where, like it's
and
crazy.
In partnership with architecture, right? That's the other thing is like sometimes we have projects that have been in plans for 2 years.
That's the only regret I had. I wish the designer came in with the architect.
You know what? Call your designer first. Call your designer
first. It was our fault.
Yes,
you know what I mean? It was our fault.
And I think it's very common, again, in a luxury professional service, like it isn't widely talked about. When do you call your architect? Yeah. When do you call a designer? It's like, get everyone together around the table as soon as possible.
Right.
Even sometimes like I have clients that call me before they've even like purchased land. And I'm like, great.
Yeah.
I'm going to start building the team. Like this architect is who I know works really well in this area. I feel like this person, this aesthetic, right? Like there's a whole bunch of different deciding factors.
How do you do your pricing? Is it per square foot? Is it?
Like, we typically bill on a flat fee model. So
what's like the average 10,000 square foot? That's not average, but like most of your clients are probably 8,000 plus homes.
Yeah. They're
what does someone pay for your services?
I would
before
honestly,
furniture and all that, like just the design of everything, and space planning.
I'll tell you, on average, you should expect to spend about 10% on all of your professional fees.
10% of your build
cost on all of your professional fees. So that's me, that's your architect, that's structural and planning, that's permitting, that's city, that's all of that. So about 10%. So if you're building,
I thought it'd be more like
no, yeah. So if you're building a $2 million house, you should be expecting
with
to
architect.
spend. Yeah, I mean, most architects that would charge a fee that would throw off that figure are not designing a $2 million house, right? So like they're designing a $10 million house. So 10% of 10 million is a lot bigger number, right? So, but yeah, I would say market standard, like average, you should expect to pay about 10% in professional fees.
Cool.
Yeah.
I know you have to go. I appreciate, even though you didn't come on the helicopter.
I know. Do I have to go yet? I have a little bit.
Okay. I thought it was.
If you're okay.
Sorry, I thought it was you had to dip out at like 4:10.
Well, so I pushed Tyler back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, hang on, let me make sure.
So
Kate, our CMO, is like your biggest fan.
Oh my gosh, really? Yeah, I have till 4:30.
Oh, okay.
Unless you're ready to get rid of me.
No, I love this.
One of your designers, Kylie, is our #1 green mango influencer.
My baby girl, is she really? Kylie is one of my 7 years. Kylie is absolute royalty goals.
What makes her great?
I love that. What makes her great? Oh my gosh, she just walks on water. She's amazing. She's wonderful. She's so talented. She's the best mommy, best wife. Like I would not
She's
be
a
me
mom
without
too.
her. Yeah, she just
Are
had
a lot
little
of the
girl
people that you work with moms?
There's 5 of us in the design office who are moms. Yeah.
How do you that's like, I'm so happy for people when they get pregnant, but I'm like, I know you're not going to come back.
Yeah.
You just don't. I know it. Like,
so happy for you, Slash. I know. It's tough, right? I think support.
You've done it with 5 people.
Yeah. Well, so Kylie has had a baby while she's worked for us. Rachel, she's our other senior design director. She just had a baby. They were pregnant at the same time, had babies a little bit different timing. We've had a couple on our retail side. We have a couple that have older kids. And then one, she had like a 1-year-old when she started. So, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's all about support, like if they're not going to come back, and obviously your business is very different than mine, but I think helping them to identify like what it's going to take to get them to come back, if that's what they want, is important.
Yeah.
The earlier the better. But I love that. I can't wait to tell her.
See, I give Cam a hard time because my older sister was pursuing being a doctor and she just had a baby.
Yeah.
And Cameron's just like has this mentality like a second a woman's pregnant and like you're done.
Maybe it is my industry.
Cameron, we need to change that.
No, I want women. I want people like you. Like they're very detail oriented. They know what they want. Like they don't slough off when they come to work. Like they get their stuff done.
Yeah.
Guys aren't like that. I can say that. Guys aren't like that.
I will also tell you.
I want the girl here. Like I want the woman.
It's not just.
But I know what it's like to be a freaking mom and have that mom guilt and like all this stress is like I told Lexia because she literally thinks like I don't want people after they have kids. I'm like that's not the facts. But when I was a little boy, my mom worked at a nail salon. And I remember like I fell off my bike. I cracked my head. I had to get stitches and they wouldn't let my mom leave.
Oh
like they wouldn't let her leave.
And
the next day my mom quit. And I'll never forget that. Like I was 8 or 9, whatever. Like I was very young.
Right.
Like I'll never forget that. And it's like the moms not need to be home with it. The moms need to be there for their kids.
Yeah. I mean, it's maternal instinct for sure.
And
I would say
that's why I'm so fascinated about your husband staying home, what you've done in your business. And like, you're a boss. Like you're
well, and let's be clear, he does not stay home.
Well, sorry, not stay home, but like at first,
he hasn't stayed home one day.
You started this company, like it was.
Well, and
hey,
I also think like advice, right? You asked when I came on the show, we were talking about, what can we talk about? How can people relate? Like, I don't know if this is good or bad, but like taking risks when you're young is so important because you just have a lot less to lose.
So define young though, because there's a lot of different people listening to this
at
different ages.
I mean, and again, please, I'm not saying that you can't take a risk when you're old or if you're over 30 or whatever, but like
I'm saying early 20s.
I started the Lifestyle Co when I was 27. Like I got married when I was 24.
You don't have very many bills.
Exactly. You just don't have that much to lose. Where like now I couldn't.
Yeah.
Right. There's no such make $20,000 in a year and like support my family.
Well, that's crazy that you even made like you literally pulled $20,000 out the first year.
I saved $20,000 and then my goal was to make like net revenue, right? Net profit. another 20 so that I could contribute 40,000 to my
it took
family.
me 6 years to take any money from Green Mango.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was reinvesting it back into
and you
marketing,
had startup costs, right? Like I needed nothing. I needed this and a MacBook. My literals, I did my own logo. I did my own website. I did all of my own everything. Like there was no outsourcing. I didn't hire anyone to do web until like year 5. I did everything. Funny. Like, yeah, it just, I don't know. I think there's like a lot of like figure it out, you know? And that's the other thing with entrepreneurship is like so many people go into it, but they don't think about like, do I have the personality characteristics to like just figure shit out?
Yes,
like,
thank you. Like that's what I say.
Like if you don't, please save yourself all of your money. Save your money.
I told you I like you.
And go work for someone else and seek something else because like I have never met a high achiever or an entrepreneur who doesn't have that. Like, and people call it scrappy, people call it a hustle. Like, I don't know. I don't really identify with any of those things. I just think like you have to be able to look at something and be like, I am going to figure this out.
Yeah, they don't accept no.
Exactly. And like not seek other people's like circle of influence. I don't care what they say. This is what I think we should do and we need to do it. And if I need to make another decision, I will. And when I do, I need you on board. And like, and this is what we're doing. And when it's only you sitting in that seat, right? We all started as like solopreneurs. You have to have enough wherewithal to know when to keep going, to know when to pull back. And again, like just like figure it out. And I just think there's a lot of not figuring it out.
Luckily, I had my business partner who was that guy. Like he just wouldn't accept no. Yeah. And I don't know. Like I'm glad I had him because I don't know if I would have adopted that or not. But because he was that way, it was like, hey, like I guess this is what you do. Right. But not many people have that friend or that business partner that like is there saying, don't accept no. When, you know, figure out a way to get the yes.
Right. Or someone that is lasting, right? Like everyone, I think a lot of people identify themselves as that early. Like you have partnerships forged out of nothing and you're like, wait, how long have you guys known each other? Wait, what? You're going to business together? I'm like, oh my God. Right. Like, I don't know about that. And to have someone that is a mainstay and that continues and sees your evolution and can support you through that, whether you part ways or not, is so beneficial. And that's what I found in my husband too, is like in starting on my own, I would come home from work, right? Like leave my home office and be like, oh my God, XYZ. And he would help me. But since he's joined, he hasn't done it once. It's me now. Since he's joined,
he literally whips me.
I have a partner that he's the only person I could ever be a partner with.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So you believe in soulmates?
I totally believe in soulmates. You don't?
No, I do.
Oh, you do?
My wife, like I give her crap about it all. I'm like, you're telling me there's not one other guy that could be there for you?
Well, oh God, I know when you put it like that, it's like really challenging.
No,
I do kind of.
It makes me feel warm and fuzzy when she tells me that.
I don't know. I just really believe that like everything happens for a reason. I also believe timing is everything.
Timing is crazy.
Yes, timing is everything. But I will say this, like I think I'm 40. I don't know how old are you?
35. I'll be 36 this year.
Baby
old
boy.
People here.
Okay, well, post 40 is quite a thing, and everyone talks about it, and it's because it's real. It really is, and like not only just the social narrative around turning 40, right? But like 40 is a big number in terms of like you've been around a little bit, you've got some experience, you probably don't give as much as you used to in terms of like how much you care about what other people think, or you're like on a whole other side of the spectrum, which is like terrible. But I think as you get older, your marriage, let's say, or your relationships, they grow deeper. And the depth and the timing aren't necessarily the same. So like I can see how people that are older that lose a spouse, right? Or like a widower or whatever situation, even a divorcee, like I don't think you're doomed because you were married to your soulmate and for whatever reason it didn't work out. That person is no longer with us. I don't necessarily think that the next person that you're with isn't going to be wonderful for you, you know, but are they your soulmate? Heck, I don't know, but like I would want my husband to be happy. No, I wouldn't. I would want him to be happy. I want it to be miserable if I'm not here. No, I'm kidding. Right? Like of course, you would want your family to go on in some way if you couldn't be here for it. Yeah. And so I guess for those reasons, it kind of makes like the whole soulmate thing maybe not as, but I don't know. It's not like divine for him and I just chose him and I love him and we work at it.
You make your company sound like it's always been peaches. It's always been perfect, which I know it hasn't. Give me something like,
okay, give you something.
What time, like when was there a time where it was just like, this is not working?
I mean, every day there's like another challenge, but like in terms of like some huge disaster.
Like when were you like, crap,
this
was a bad idea?
No.
You never had that. Like I need to freaking fire sell this thing.
No, God, no. Have you?
Yes. Are you kidding me?
No. No, there's nothing else I would want to do with my life than the Lifestyle Co. No, I never have. And I've been saying this for years. I don't know, maybe this is how you know that you like really have a passion for what you're doing. I have never once wanted to quit. Never once. I've never once said I'm quitting. I want to quit.
You haven't got burnt out.
No,
you haven't like.
Never. Nope.
You're not pushing hard enough.
Nope. And maybe that's true, right? I mean, like, for God's sake, I don't know. But like, never. And again,
like, that's cool.
It's not that there hasn't been so many challenges. Of course there have, right? But like, I think perspective is everything. And for me, it has never challenged me so much that I've wanted to close up shop. Like ever.
How do you deal with your stress then?
I will say as I've gotten older, it's gotten harder. And I think that's just because the stakes get so much bigger, right? Yeah. Like I used to have a backup plan for everything. This is silly, but we used to flip houses. Like we did that for a while too.
Yeah. I mean, that's your thing.
Yeah. Like, I mean, once you know enough about construction and real estate and they all kind of go hand in hand, and it was easy at the time. This was when rates were way different and construction costs were way different. And, you know, gosh, this was probably like 2015. I literally used to justify buying these properties. I would buy houses without telling Vince. I would just be like, hey, I bought a flip today. And he's like, what? And I'm like, we have 10 days. Like, we'll figure it out. You know, like, can you come see it? Can we figure this out? And I literally would do it like all the time because I would see something and I'd be like, wait, this is good. Let's do it. Like, especially in an investor mentality, we got to go.
That's how you dealt with your stress?
Like, no. What I was getting at, so how did I get on this? Something to do with.
I love it. I'm like, wait, she like sidetracks
How do I deal with my stress is, stakes getting higher. Yes, right? Yeah. So how do I deal with my stress is the stakes are so much higher. My backup plan used to be when we would buy flips, okay, well, if this doesn't sell, we'll move into it. Like, it's fine. So I would always like keep the value where like I was comfortable. Okay. So like, okay, I can't do anything more than at the time, like $500,000 or something. And that was actually like hand to God, my actual plan. That like, if this didn't sell for some reason, I would sell if this isn't selling, why would that sell? I don't know. If something happened with the market, in my head, I was going to be fine. And we would move into this. Like, obviously now, like that's not an option, right? Like if we're developing something, it's multi-million dollars. Like you've got so much money out, cash, payroll taxes. Like it's just, we're self-funded. We've never taken a dime. Cool. So like that, right? Like that's, and it doesn't mean that not being self-funded is not a good way of doing business, right? Like that's a very smart way of doing business also. But so as I've gotten older, trying to figure out how to deal with stress, I think has changed. For me, I used to like, I don't know, go for a walk. And that would be like, okay, I'm good now. I probably need a little more than that now. Like I do a lot of Pilates. I really try to like leave myself. I take a bath every single night. I don't bring my phone. Yeah. I sit there and I like decompress. And that's when I think I drive in silence. It's another thing. Yeah. Do you really? Yeah. Drive in silence.
Unless I'm listening to a podcast.
Yeah. If I listen to a podcast, fine. But for the most part, like, and I love music and I listen to music at home all the time. But like when I drive, that's the time that I have to think and be by myself and no one can be coming in my door like, oh, can I bother you? Oh, can I bother you? Can I bother you? Yeah. So I don't know. It's definitely changed as I've gotten older, but just trying to make, time for myself.
I did a breathwork class the other night.
So good.
And I've done it. That was my second time. Mm-hmm. And like, it was so refreshing.
Yeah. Did you do in through the nose, out through the nose?
Yes.
Yeah.
And and it was like.
Did you get lightheaded?
No, but my whole body was just like.
Do you like feel it in your toes?
And I was having this like heart pain from stress. It sounds so bad.
No, I know.
For like months, I spent like $5,000 on a heart test because I was like, my health's like going bad, And I do this breathwork class. And it's gone. Like I haven't. I was like about a month ago, and like I haven't felt it. You should meditate. I bought this freaking Aura ring because I'm like my heart rate. I got to track my heart rate.
Yeah.
But so breath work's awesome. I love cold baths. But my wife's been getting into yoga, and so I've been going to some of those. But like you have to have something as a CEO, as a manager, as anyone. Like you have to find those things to just decompress and just like. Have your time.
I think so too. I love to travel. Like we travel as a family a lot and traveling like fills my cup. It also for me because I'm
completely disconnect when you travel. Are you still checking emails?
No.
I knew it. Okay.
No. Yeah. But my team does handle so much. Like I do not very rarely do I have to
but
get
it's like you love it.
Yeah. And I want to, right? I want them to feel supported. Like I'm not out there gallivanting and they're like huffing and puffing, like trying to keep things afloat. But because I'm in an aesthetic business also, like traveling, it's so dual purpose, right? Like I'm taking an inspiration. I'm literally like the psycho who's like taking pictures of the tile lay in the airport bathroom.
One of my questions was going to be like, how do you like, where do you get your most inspiration? Is it traveling?
I would definitely say traveling.
Yeah.
Traveling for sure. I mean, the internet is still a great place for inspiration. Now with AI, it's like you can order it right up. Like whatever.
Really?
If I'm literally like, show me a White House that's going to inspire me in this location with this ceiling height,
Really?
it will spit out like
Wow.
crazy iterations of images. So, but nothing fills your cup like travel, you know? And like, and I also think it's really humbling. It really shows you, even if you travel at a luxury level, like you pass things, you're witness to things, you see other communities and other cultures, and you're like, wow, okay, wow, that was eye-opening, either positive or negative.
Well, I liked your one reel you did. I think it was in London where you're like, this is what people
are
wearing in London.
Yeah, that the Paris one went viral.
So engaged.
Oh my God, you should
I just want to see the next person.
The comments on that one was
what? I didn't read
savage.
What was it?
Well, I mean, I'm sure you guys have had viral content, right?
Please. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Oh my, really? We got to get you some viral content. But anytime anything goes viral, it is savage is literally the only word. Like you just get people from all over the place, and most viral content is not your followers, right? Like you don't have 1 million followers. or I don't. So like to get 1 million views, you obviously know that it's way outside of the people that know and love you.
Right.
So they come for you. Like, I mean,
now
literally the
I gotta
comments are
go back
hilarious.
and read
Yeah.
the comments.
Like it's people attacking other, and then they start attacking each other. And so like, I'm literally just like,
you're just like eating popcorn, let's go.
Right. And I'm taking the views. I'm like, cool, keep it coming, because that's what Instagram wants, sadly, is like they, you know, the more savage it is, the more people are attacking each other, the higher the views go. And I mean, no, I don't want that. / like I didn't make the rules. Like I'm just playing this game. Right. But yeah, the comments on any viral content is not fun. I truly feel like all of our team, they want to be here, and that's why they make the experience just so much better.
How do you make them like? It's their passion. I get that they're getting paid well, but like, how do you keep that buy-in?
I know,
because that's very
rigorous
unique.
Interview process.
Yeah, is that what it is?
Honestly, yeah, we interview like crazy person. Like I'm sure people like retail associates are like, oh my God, I have going for my 3rd interview for part-time retail work. Like, stop it. You can walk into Target and get hired on the spot, right? But you literally can, or any retailer for the most part, because it's really hard to find good people. But I do. I think you can tell a lot in an interview. Yeah. And asking the right questions and really trying to see, right? I also think like backtracking, if someone comes in and tells us that they want to work for us, and then we go check them out and they don't follow the Lifestyle Co., I'm like, I don't know. That's kind of weird. You're 25 years old. How could you not follow us and like come in here and sit in front of me and tell me that you think I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread? Like, how did you even hear about me? You know what I mean? It just, there are like things like indicators, like KPIs, but even on the like personnel recruiting side that you're like, this isn't making any sense.
Well, I love what you said. Like, you're like, hey, if you don't wear makeup, like don't wear makeup in here.
Yeah.
Just be yourself. Like,
exactly.
I want to know you. I want to get to know you.
1,000%. Like however you show up to the interview is how I'm expecting you to show up. Yeah. So if you're a no makeup girly, fresh, clean face, all together, I love that. Like we have days in our office where we will have like media days or something on a project, and like literally I've had caked on media makeup for 3 days or even 1 day. And I'm like, my face hurts. Yeah. Like, can we not today? Let's just go casual, no makeup, clean face. Yeah. And the whole office does it. And like, we love it. Right. Yeah. And it's like, I also think it's like part of balance that I'm like, I just cannot put makeup on today. But yeah, exactly. It doesn't mean that you need to be some like very conditioned, like, be you,
shower and dress up. But like, don't go outside of who you are.
Just be who you are, because at some point it's going to come out, and I would way rather know you for who you are and have that connection than know you for who you aren't and like try to make a connection. Yeah. That doesn't work.
So my last question, what's been your favorite project?
Oh my God.
I love them all. Come on.
No, my house.
Your
the
personal
ODL house. Yeah. So the ODL house, it was like it was the greatest, most, I don't know, maybe I'm like rose colored glasses, but obviously building custom. You said you built custom, right? Like it's a process, but like my builders were amazing. I don't know. I liked the craft.
Okay.
Yeah. I just like loved it, and I loved getting to share it with everyone. And I loved like I had the amount of people that connected with me and like loved my specifications and have asked me for every single spec, and I've given them every single spec. And like, so 100% my house, that was such a cool experience. I can also tell you that having the experience of being a principal designer and building for myself has provided me so much more empathy for our clients. Like I used to be like, shut up and give me your checkbook. And now I'm like, okay, I totally understand that we have to stop the bleeding. Like, let's swap the marble for porcelain, right? Because like I get it. At some point, even the biggest budgets, we have clients with $10 million budgets and they're like, no, I actually like cannot spend anymore. So I'm so glad
10 million, 11 million.
Right, exactly. You do think like from a consumer standpoint, like I don't have that kind of money, that you're like, come on, if you got 10 million for this house, I know you got more millions somewhere, like hand it over, right? You said you wanted this house to be XYZ, great, blah, blah, blah. But even the biggest budgets are like, no, like I actually don't, or I don't have any more for this. So we need to figure out how to make this work. So just the stress it takes on a marriage. Like again, Vince and I had a good dynamic where he would, I handled everything aesthetic. I handle everything design. Cool. That's pretty much how we always do it. I handle acquisition. I handle all of that. And then he handles execution. We literally say from the hotel business, there's a saying, you sell the dream, I'll service the nightmare. So I sell the dream and he services the nightmare. Like always have, always will. And it's just kind of like.
I said that was my last question, but I got one more. Okay. Because I was like, that sparked one more. What's your, like, so you said this budget, like I would imagine if you've never sold a $10 million package, like going to someone and being like, it's 10 million, like what's been your highest package, and were you nervous the first time you presented that? Oh God.
We have a project right now. It's 24,000 square feet. This is going to be like a very expensive house.
And is it just like,
it'll be 25 million. Like it would be impossible to build it for that much. I would say some of the hardest conversations I've had are when, and for whatever reason, it doesn't have to be this way, but for every reason, wife falls in love with us. She's through the inquiry process. I have heard nothing about husband other than like my husband. I send a proposal. Husband gets the proposal forwarded. He's
now
like,
you meet
what
the husband,
right? Like he has no idea what this costs. Most people have no idea what a professional services cost, which I do find interesting because most people that work with at this level do luxury professional services all day long, right? But nonetheless, so there's a big fat number, especially in advance of building a house or even just furnishing large homes, right? Like the numbers add up. And so then they right away, hi Kristen, I got the proposal, and it's very dry, can we get on the phone? Sure, no problem. Those calls still sometimes just because I know I have no rapport, right? I'm warm and fuzzy with wifey, but like we don't have anything in the love tank yet. And so and it's always like, hi, boom, like, where is this fee coming from? Or how can I get this down? Or what did my wife sign up for? Or right, like, and not all the time, but those conversations happen. Yeah. And some of the most intense ones have turned out to be our absolute best clients. Yeah. And most of those conversations are business to business, right? And it's someone who very much is savvy in business and understands, and I'm savvy in business. And I'm like, listen, our fees are non-negotiable. Your passion. Yeah. I'm like, our fees are non-negotiable. The reason why we have non-negotiable fees is because I know what I'm doing. I know how much time this takes, and I would be an idiot. And do you want to hire an idiot? I don't think you do. I'd be an idiot if I took less than what I know we can command. And it wouldn't be smart. Everyone has 24 hours in the day. I haven't figured out a way around that yet. Yeah. So for me to fill my hours in the day with a project or pricing that is less than what I know we can command would just be dumb. That would be stupid. And I understand if it's out of your price range or blah, 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 and then they're like, wheel and deal. Well, whatever their wheel and deal is. And either we keep talking and like I said, now we're like, 3 projects
my prices are non-negotiable.
Right? Yeah, they are. Like we don't negotiate design fees.
I love it.
Yeah. So, and that's because, like I said, they're built on data. They're built on information. I'm not like, well, maybe I'll charge XYZ today and maybe I'll charge XYZ tomorrow. Like they're data driven. And so I will also say, like, as a new business owner, as an old business owner, if you're not reviewing your numbers don't lie. And you have to look at your numbers, and you need to know them. And like, everyone watches Shark Tank, and like you see all these things, and you see someone stand up there and like they don't know what their product or their service actually costs. It's like, how are you trying to run a business and you're trying to scale it when you haven't even established, but it happens all the time. There's money in the bank, so they think that.
How many years in did you hire your CFO?
My husband's our CEO, CFO.
Really?
Yeah, we do everything internally. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So it's something that we have an accountant and a bookkeeper and, a CPA, and they're really close with us, and we pay them a boatload a month to keep us between the bumpers. But he really believes you should have him on, actually. I would love that. You should have him on because he's so awesome. But he really believes that like staying in the daily numbers is what equates to the big numbers, right? Cool. Yeah. In handing that over, and think about it, like we have we have 15 purchasers all day, every day, buying everything
how many
you could possibly
SKUs,
imagine.
like?
Yeah. So just even from our design clients, how much we're purchasing, that he's like, I just don't know how someone outside of our business could ever accurately understand how this like flow through works. Yeah. So I'm sure it's the first thing he would love to get off his plate.
Dang. Well, you've been great. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Like, this was so fun.
No, thanks for
really
coming in. I'm going to get you up in the helicopter. Somehow.
No, you're not, son.
Somehow,
no, you're not.
I'm not. That's my life goal now. No,
maybe for your 40th birthday, I'll go up in the helicopter with you.
Hey, I'll show you Arizona like you've never seen. We'll fly over some of your projects.
Do you fly this thing?
Yeah.
Oh, God, no. You are crazy.
What? You what?
No.
You don't trust me?
You're a sweet thing, but there's no way I'm not getting in a helicopter.
What if
2, you're going to interview me and you're going to fly the helicopter?
How many years
How many people lived through
how many years of experience would I have had to have you come up on the helicopter? Like how many years?
No, and that's not it. If I met you as a helicopter pilot, I wouldn't think anything about it. But I didn't meet you as a helicopter pilot. I met you as a podcast host. No, I'm kidding. But it will not happen.
What if I got up to 10 years of experience?
It has nothing to do with that. I truly believe
12
that
years.
Weird things happen. We
I don't think fly over some of your projects and get the best content.
I can get that with a drone.
Oh gosh. I'm just playing. No, you're awesome. I love what you do.
Thank you so much.
like I said, I love your passion. I love how direct you are. And like, I'd love to work when I sell, I'm going to come work for you. No, I'm going to come work for you.
No,
okay?
Let's just build a house together. Yeah. I want to meet Alyssa. Let's build a house.
She would love that. So you should come over.
Do you have kids?
Yeah.
How many?
2.
2 boys, girls?
Boy and a girl, 10 and 7.
Oh, see, we're right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just love where we live. Yeah. I would never move. Like people are always like,
awesome.
Why would you move to Gilbert? And I'm like, stop it. Like you never been down here. And then now people are like, would you ever move back? And I'm like, I would never move back. Not with a family.
Do you have family around here?
Yeah. So my parents just moved back to Arizona from Michigan.
Okay.
And they are literally 1 mile away from me.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So it's so nice.
My family lives in Mesa, so it's a little bit far. That's the only thing I don't like.
Yeah,
but
you're a little far.
Everything's around us. 15 minutes to the house from here.
I know.
I don't have to go down Ellsworth.
And like all the good stuff we're getting.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, yay, we're getting such good stuff. I tell everyone, I'm like, we have Wi-Fi now. Gas stations. I love it. But anyway, this is wonderful. Thank you so much.